Tonight on the Chillstream, Israel goes too far for the Biden White House. The halving is 5 days away, and the greatest movie ever made is currently being filmed in Hollywood. All of that, so much more, coming back in 2 minutes. Artificial wind. And we are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the Monday Night Chill Stream. This is an exciting time. We are 5 days away from the Bitcoin halving. You can feel the electricity in the air. And if you look at the Bitcoin mining statistics, we are mining at something like 628 exahash a second, which for those of you in the back row who can't do math, that would be 628 quadrillion calculations per second. That's a lot of computing power. But there's so much going on. Obviously, the halving is the biggest of big deals. But today turned out to be like a really good day for me. One, I got a haircut. I've been trying to get a haircut for like a week, and every place is closed or the guy's not there or whatever. And I finally, I said, well, I remember a Spanish guy up near Teterboro. So I said, all right, I'll drive 20 miles for a fucking haircut, which I think is ridiculous, but whatever. I went up there. This guy's, not only is he closed Monday, he's closed, period. And I'm like, fuck. So then I Google like different places like barbershops near Teterboro. And I make an appointment at one. I go to their website. I put in the address on my GPS. I drive to where they're supposed to be. They're not there. But along the way, like as I passed through the town, this was in Hackensack. I saw two other places on the main road. I was like, all right, I'll just go in and I'll just get my haircut because they're all Spanish over there. And the last time I had my haircut, it was a Jamaican woman, and she didn't really do the right thing. But so anyway, long story short, I go into the barbershop, and the Mexican woman that cuts my hair, I'm in the chair. It's as low as it can go. It's at the bottom setting of and I'm still she's not equal height with me. She's like looking up. But she did a really good job. I'm very happy. It was like $25, which is cheap, believe it or not. I can't believe it. Looking around where the immediate postal code where I live, haircuts are like $45, $50, like $35, $45, $55 for a fucking haircut. And you look at the work, their like the photos on Google, and they're all just writing letters in the side of some kid's fucking head, putting a sports ball fucking logo on the kid's head and charging $50. And like, yeah, all right, well, I'm not a kid, but whatever. The senior citizen price, even if I could convince someone I was a senior, is still like $40. So I'm like, fuck that shit. So I go up to Hackensack. It was $25. Super happy with this girl. Gave her 30. They like, I never been to a Mexican barbershop. They're like wiping you down with aloe and fucking hot towels and shit. I was like, holy crap, this is my new favorite spot. So in terms of personal grooming, I'm much happier, much cleaner look. So all is good with that. Thinking about last week, because we have to think ahead in order to go back. Last week, the manlet was in the chat, and he's like, hey, you should buy a Harley Davidson touring motorcycle. And I'm like, yeah, blah, 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 this and that, something, something. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't it curious that, like, in the week before I did the show, I'm looking at like motorcycles for sale on Facebook Marketplace. And then somebody pops up in my chat and says, hey, you should buy a new Harley Davidson, which, to be honest, I never would. I don't really like that brand. I've ridden them in the past. They're not what they are cracked up to be. And the price of their top of the line touring bikes is like from $25,000 to $33,000. Listen to me. If I had $25,000 of fiat, if I had $25,000 in Federal Reserve notes, I would take $22,000 and buy Bitcoin. And then I would take $3,000 and buy a used motorcycle. And that's what I would do. So I don't know. I don't know how you think the single, the one-bedroom apartment in New Jersey lifestyle can afford a $25,000 toy, which is just going to depreciate in value the minute you roll it off the lot. I don't know how you think that happens. You have to be probably living off of federal tax dollars. That would be my guess, but that's just a guess. I don't know if the manlet is a Fed or not, but he did just happen to perfectly coincidentally mention what I was what I was searching for, which is motorcycles for sale. I just happened to be looking at that a lot last week, and then somebody pops up in my chat and talks about it. Surely just a coincidence. Am I right? Well, I don't really think so. I think that there could be more to this. It could be deeper. How deep can it go, James? I'm telling you, it could be deeper. When we talk about the alphabets, you know what I mean? Everybody thinks about the NSA and the fucking CIA and all these sexy Hollywood three-letter agencies. But this really this first video I have here. Yeah, this is the real alphabet agency.
You're going to want to hear this.
We opened a center in Silicon Valley back in 2017. And the woman who runs it, she's an ex-Facebook executive. I have software engineers and data scientists working at ADL. We're monitoring all this stuff. And we're working with all the platforms, by the way. Google and YouTube and Meta and Twitter and Reddit and Steam and Amazon, all these companies. From like Apple to Zoom, we work with all of them, okay? That's relevant because we've been working with Twitter now since it was founded. We worked with the old regime, working with the new regime. Like, I'm talking to Elon, and we're trying to work with them.
He's literally bragging out loud about how they have daily meetings with all the social media companies. Sorry, not even just social media platforms. He said Zoom private conversations in order to censor speech they do not like. And let's just be 100% straight up. The ADL is not a civil rights group. It is an intelligence organization operating within the United States on behalf of another country.
Whoa, Spanish dude with the glasses and the beard. You're like getting very conspiratorial. I think that he looks Spanish, kind of Spanishy. Maybe he's Asian. I don't know. It's tough to tell these days. I'm getting old. I wear glasses. I can't always, some people are like, you can't always figure them out. But yeah, ADL covers everything all the time. They're here nonstop. They're always fucking with you. And all the fuckery in the internet comes from the Anti-Defamation League of the B'nai B'rith. Virgil Doc, Purple Heart, welcome to the show, sir. So straight from the mouth of, that's not Foxman, I think that guy's name is Greenblatt. You know, that they work with every platform to censor speech that they don't like. You know what I mean? And is this a surprise to any of us? No, it's not really a surprise, but every now and then it's nice to hear them say it out loud, because too many times, you know, they don't say it out loud, and they fucking censor things like this was like, what the fuck, bro, what the fuck? I know I can get out of line. I know I do racisms. I do anti-Semitisms. I do homophobias. I do Islamophobias. I do some other offensive shit, whatever, misogynies, whatever the list of double plus ungood things you're not allowed to say. I do that all the time, not just in the magical world of the internet, but in real life, with, of course, a select group of carefully chosen people. But you know, even when and you know, I thought, well, maybe I'm like really being delusional to think that they're constantly fucking with me. But they're not. I'm not, because they will constantly fuck with me, even when I'm not doing an anti-Semitism. I'm not doing a racism. They just, my account must be flagged so that there's times I can't even fucking, if I just post too much, like on Instagram in the comments section, they'll just fucking shut me down. I got this. We removed your content, right? So there's my Instagram name, and all I wrote was trade your fiat for Bitcoin, and this was literally on a Instagram reel or something that was about you know, the Federal Reserve and gold and blah 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 blah. So all I said was trade your fiat for Bitcoin. That's literally the entire post, and you know, removed within like 5 minutes of it being posted. So, you know, there's no keywords there, because I constantly write Bitcoin, this, that, all the time, all over the internet. There's no keywords. You can't target that. I have to be targeted as this device spits out too many messages to too many platforms, and then it just boom, squash it. And then the phone stops working, or it slows down. I get all kind of hiccups and all kinds of problems. And then, of course, I get disgusted and I go do something else. But yeah, this is the way it is. This is the way it is. But we have to, with all of the fuckery about, and there's some fuckery about outside of that. What's the sports ball guy? Sports ball guy. He's trying to, like, he sees the world through the lens of football games to bet or basketball games to bet, like sports betting, day trading in the stock market, and then he's got some Bitcoin. He's buying a little more Bitcoin. I don't know how much he's buying, but the price just dumped on Friday because Israel decided to just attack all of its neighbors, like Syria, Lebanon, everybody just shoot, like, you know, in every way they could fucking shoot a missile or fucking bomb one of their fucking neighbors. They just did a fucking round robin. And the White House is fucking pulling its hair out of its fucking head. They're like, we have an election in fucking 6 months. In 6 months, we have a fucking election, and you're fucking slaughtering everyone and starting a fight with everyone in the Middle East. And these dumb motherfuckers, like, they think something, you know, like they're going to cause something to happen. 6 out of 7 of America's aircraft carriers are off the coast of China, right? They're hanging out by Taiwan, because we're afraid that the Chinese are going to take Taiwan and shut down the chip factory over there. There's only, like, I think there's only one carrier group, maybe in the Med, somewhere around there, and it's just not enough. It's not enough planes. You can't do anything. We can't project enough power to stop people, especially if you got the Houthi rebels on the fucking ocean, and the Iranian fucking drones, and Lebanon decides to get in on the fucking ground. Like, who the fuck knows? Like, you know. But of course, Tel Aviv is just fucking provoking the fuck out of everybody. And even the Biden White House, not because they have a spine or anything, but because they want to win re-election. They're like, no, we're not going along with this. So pretty interesting. But you know, aside from the murderous psychopaths, our greatest ally in the Middle East, our enemies are attempting to fuck with us. I know there's a huge fucking swat the people that think that Vladimir Putin's a great Russian nationalist, that he loves Russia and fucking Tchaikovsky and tea with sugar and lemon and whatever the fuck. He's not some fucking piece of shit KGB fucking spook elevated to the fucking level of a dictator for life in Russia, right? And this is the kind of thing when you don't understand what you're looking at, when you don't understand real human motivations, stories like this feed your your confirmation bias. You think, oh boy, Vladimir Putin, he's really fighting America. Boy, he's not taking any shit. What's the story? Russia seizes over 650,000 acres of farmland and other assets from a company with ties to unfriendly country, whatever that means. I guess that means America. People are thinking, yeah, man, Putin's gonna do what? All he's trying to do is reduce the amount of wheat that is grown, right? The price of wheat is stayed flat throughout the entire war, right? The war with Ukraine. Even though Ukraine and Russia are the two biggest wheat exporters in the fucking world, they've been at war now for a while, 2-3 years, and we got the same exact amount of fucking wheat that we had before the war. So why is Putin fucking grabbing all that fucking land? Because he wants to take it off the market. He doesn't want it to be planted. He doesn't want he wants the amount of wheat they export to be smaller so that they can make more fucking money. You know what I mean? That's all that it's about. That's all that this is about. It has nothing to do with Russian nationalism or any other fucking shit like that. It's all a con. It is all a con. Not as sophisticated as the American cons. America has cons which are much more sophisticated. Although, to be fair, I don't think we're heading straight down the road of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. AI is threatening Americans' jobs. Could guaranteed income provide a safety net? Yet another story about UBI, prepping you. Because when AI and robots, it's just AI, take over all white collar jobs, this is going to be like a big fucking problem. It's going to be a big problem politically, but they're going to solve it by just giving everybody money. They're just going to go to UBI or something, I don't know, and try to deal with this. This is the monster that no one can slay, or only Bitcoin can slay, is inflation, right? The super core inflation measure shows that the Fed may have a real problem on its hands. And apparently, they said, the standard inflation number, which, doesn't include food or energy, and now the super core inflation, they're breaking that apart. So it does not include shelter or rent. So as long as you don't have to pay a mortgage or pay rent, inflation is not a problem. So I don't know. Is the government at this point suggesting you go and become a squatter somewhere? is that what they're suggesting? Like, inflation is not a problem if you're squatting in someone else's home and you're not paying rent or a mortgage. Then everything's fine. Then you don't have to worry. The price of energy and food can fluctuate because you're living rent free. And all of this is happening in the background, but the real thing, and this was me with Sportsbook guy going back and forth about the economy, and I didn't understand. I'm trying desperately to understand why things are happening the way they're happening, and the high interest rates for the short-term bonds, but it's to save the banks. It's to save the big banks, right? And you say, well, who cares? Well, it matters because if the Wall Street bank, the banks on Wall Street fail, that means Wall Street fails. That means the American economy fails. That means the dollar fails, and they can't have that. That's why they did this interest rate thing. So basically, they're giving UBI to Jamie Dimon and Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley and all the rest. I think they're paying something on the order of something like $6 billion a month. $6 billion a month Oy vey, goy. Think about the 6 billion. So they have to do that to keep these banks alive, to keep the stock market illusion alive, so that everyone continues to buy the crappy pieces of paper that they print out of thin air. So this is their main focus, and everything else is second. Everything else is second, and that's going to be a big problem because a bunch of stuff is going to eventually catch up to it. Not the least of which is I got some videos. This is 21 seconds. They're like, I swear you can't fucking make this up. This is Christine Lagarde, the head of the European Central Bank. She's talking about what's driving inflation in Europe. 21 seconds. Let's see if you buy this.
Climate change affects inflation, and inflation is the beast that all central bankers, whether they wear a green jacket or not, want to tame and discipline. Number two, because it affects our balance sheet. Whether it's a 3 trillion or a 7 trillion balance sheet, it is affected by climate change.
Okay, so if it's hot outside, that causes inflation. If it's cold outside and rainy, that causes inflation. And, inflation is the beast that they want to tame. You know what I mean? They don't want to eliminate it, of course. They just want to tame it. So this is, she's the head of the European Central Bank. Yes, the weather, ladies and gentlemen, the weather determines if you're going to be able to fucking pay your rent and buy food, put shoes on your fucking kids' feet or not. And it all depends on whether a cloud goes this way or fucking that way. Are they serious? Yeah, they really are. And the economy that we depended on for since the 90s to keep shit going, which is China, to make fucking endless cheap shit for us. China's not doing so good. I got some China videos here, two of which are depressing, one of which is pretty hopeful. But here's some stories about China.
China's housing market is in absolute free fall right now, with the property bubble bursting and the real estate crisis not yet reaching the bottom, with the overall problem in China being deflation. There's deflationary forces in China related to a declining population and overbuilding of homes. So many homes that no one lives in. That's right, everyone. China has ghost towns popping up all across the country, creating as many as 65 million empty homes, enough to house the population of France. Meanwhile, at the same time that supply is growing, we're seeing demand contract, with Reuters reporting that China's population fell in 2023 for the second year in a row, as the death rate in the country has now surpassed the birth rate.
The death rate has now surpassed the birth rate. So China is now in negative birth rate territory. Although the demographics is destiny. Well, it's just as true in China as it is here in the West. So things are not really very good over there. And the real economy of China is when they say deflationary, it means people don't have any fucking money to spend. Because when all the value is constantly sucked to the top, there's nothing left for the base to fucking support it. I got 38 more seconds on the real economy of China, which makes looks a lot like America, but just with chopsticks.
This is a sad reality in China. Amidst job cuts, wage cuts, and the economic struggles, men who lost their jobs become delivery drivers. Women who lost their jobs become live streamers. And when the men get tired from food delivery, they watch girl streamers. And when the women get tired from streaming, they order food delivery from the guys. And then there's also the security guard, a third type, someone who has basically given up on trying and gets to order delivery and watch streams at the exact same time. What people in China call the perfect circulation of the Chinese economy. And of course, that might be the future for many college grads and regular folks. And that's how society collapses from a lack of productivity. And that's China today.
Okay, so it's not a lack of productivity. The Chinese literally, they work like fucking slaves, literally until they kill themselves, right? The famous stories of the people at the fucking Apple factory, the Foxconn factory, they had to put suicide nets around the fucking building because people would work until they were literally would rather fucking die than just jump off the roof of the fucking building. So the Chinese will work insanely hard, but at some point, it's not worth it. At some point, it's you. You've broken everyone. You've extracted everything you can from them. They've stopped trying. There's no more jobs for them. You got one security guard at a giant factory where it used to employ 5,000 people. Now you got 5 security guards. You know what I mean? And what are they doing? They're watching videos on their phone and eating fucking pork fried rice that their former manager used because his manager was rich and can afford a scooter. He's got his own delivery business. That's China. China collapses, we collapse with it. You know what I mean? They don't have the people, or they're not going to pay the people to do the fucking job. So guess what? They're not going to do the job. And I guess it's because maybe, I don't know, the weather or something like that. The weather, something like that. But the difference between, I guess it could be argued that everybody's always struggled against this, but some of us better than others. America being the latest example. The kid, what's his name? The Cubs to Bears books guy. I show this kid a lot. He's a very smart kid. I cannot imagine. Well, maybe through selective attention, he can't see it. But he's this close. He's like this close. So the real history of America in 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Can't understand the American Revolution until you examine the actions of the banks. Schools hyper-focus on the Sugar Act, the Tea Act, the Stamp Act, but they completely gloss over the primary reason the king implemented those taxes. The crown was in $133 million of debt to bankers in England and Holland following the French and Indian War. And every grievance that the American colonists had was a reaction to the king's attempt to pay back the banks. And it went a step further when England enacted the Currency Act of 1764. The American colonists had tried to issue their own currency, tried to take control of their finances, and they were ordered to destroy the new currency by 1773. And of course, 1776 wasn't long after. This is why I write books on corruption in banking, because the history of America, the history that really matters, can be defined as the history of America versus banks. From 1776 to Andrew Jackson's fight against the Second Bank of the United States to the creation of the Federal Reserve Bank in 1913. Check out my books on rights fundamental to being an American, how information is controlled, the history of fake news, corruption in banking, and so much more. And get your kids in my courses, classicallearner.com.
All right, so of course he's selling his books, but yeah, ultimately, it was the creation of the Federal Reserve, the central bank of the United States, that sealed the coffin of freedom effectively. Well, not quite. I mean, we're not quite dead yet, but there's hope on the horizon. There's a great deal of hope because this is a super short video. It's only 6 seconds long, but it's a show up. It's oy vey. It's six of the worst seconds, goy. This from our friends, from our cousins who give really good haircuts down in El Salvador. This is, if this video does not warm the cockles of your heart 5 days out from the Bitcoin halving, then I don't know what will. Watch closely because it goes only 6 seconds. It goes by real quick. Take a look. So there it is. The Central Bank of El Salvador shuttered, closed, and the building empty. That is the first central bank of many central banks that will end up that way. We will shutter. We will close forever all central banks. Nothing will stop us. We cannot be stopped. We can't be stopped no matter what they do, because we are way funnier and better and smarter in every other way than they are. And I know there's some people that well, let's keep talking about our friends in the tribe. No, wait, where am I going? What should I do? Okay. Everyone thinks, Back to the Future. Go back to the gold standard. You're not going back to the gold standard. You aren't going back to the gold standard. Where's St. Michael? I got St. Michael here. Yeah, St. Michael going to give you an explanation of what's going to happen, and then the gold bugs are going to scream straw man. But I got a news item at the end. Here's 46 seconds of the one and only Michael Saylor.
You ever try to carry a gold bar through an airport?
Very heavy.
Try it next time. They won't let you through, right? In fact, if you tried to carry $100,000 of gold through an airport, not only would you not get through, but the assumption would be you're a criminal, you stole the gold, and they would just take it and keep it without a court order. Try to carry $100,000 of cash through the airport. You ever try that?
So you're saying, oh, come on, who would do that? Who the fuck would do that, James? No one's going to try to carry a gold. Oh, shit. Hong Kong makes largest ever gold smuggling busts. They try to take, can't see it, it's too small. It's something like, I don't know, 70 fucking kilos of gold, which they tried to disguise as machine parts. So usually people take like a lump of lead and they paint the gold and try to convince you it's gold. In this case, in Hong Kong, they took a lump of gold and painted it to look like lead, and try to convince you that it was lead, but no, they did not. They did not successfully smuggle their shiny yellow rock out of Hong Kong. So yeah, you can try to take a bar of gold through the metal detector at JFK, or you can mold it into, I don't know, machine parts, but they're still going to find it. Somebody's going to rat you out. Something's going to go wrong, and then bye shiny metal. That's just what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And the only thing that will go through, I'll tell you this is what will go through fucking airport security, because they can't touch it. You can walk through airport security with $1 billion in Bitcoin, written down in 12 words or 24 words in your hand, and they're never going to know. They're never going to know. That they can't stop. Though they will try. What else do I got? I got so much stuff, man. I got so much stuff. Here's an update on our friends. When I flew to London, I remember the guy walking up and down the aisles of the airplane looking for the tunnels underneath the airplane. I don't think he found them, but quick story from New York Times. It is 13 men charged in Brooklyn synagogue tunnel melee. So 13 Jews were charged with assaulting the police, which, listen, none of them are going to do a day in jail. They're not going to Rikers. It's all the charges are going to be dropped. And deeper in the story, four of the people in the named indictment just flew to Israel. They just went to fucking Israel. Like, fuck you, we're not even going to court. You know what I mean? And that level of fuck you, goy, is extreme. Is extreme. You remember our old friend? Oh, no, wait, no, not that. Hey, that's the Phoenix. We'll come back to that. We will come back to the Phoenix. So SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, the number one crypto story of 2024, has been sentenced to 25 years. Talked about that last week. Well, they've already appealed the sentence. They have already. I don't even think he's fucking reported to the fucking prison. I don't think he's ever been processed into the new fucking prison. But they're filing his appeal. And between that, the fact that they're going to take those Bitfinex hackers and make a movie about them, I realized that Hollywood's going to make the ultimate Hollywood blockbuster. An incredible tale of heroic Hasidim who are battling the evil goy. I got a 28-second promo starring none only than the aforementioned Sam Bankman-Fried. Are you kidding me? That's how fucking delusional these guys are. They really think that this guy's, that's their hero. That's their hero. He's, he stole what, $11 billion? The film that they're going to make is going to star Sam Bankman-Fried. What's his name? Who was doing it? Who was doing that croaked in prison? I forgot his name. Anyway, the greatest film of all time, starring Sam Bankman-Fried, is going to be a story of how heroic Jews fought off, the evil goy. And the name of the film is going to be called Schindler's List. Yes, Schindler's List. It's going to win. It's going to sweep the Oscars. You will never, ever see a movie as great and as awe-inspiring as Schindler's List, starring Sam Bankman-Fried. So make sure to look for that this as a summer blockbuster, as a fucking summer blockbuster. Okay. I know it seems ridiculous, but there's a lot of ridiculous stuff going on. You know what I mean? There's tons of ridiculous stuff, and what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? What video should I show next? What video should I show next? There's one. There's one. Where is it? Come on, where's the good one? Yeah, this is all right. So let's go back to some. Let's go back to something a little more lighthearted than Schindler's List. Although I'm thinking that one's pretty good. That's a pretty good title for a film. But with all the stuff going on, with the halving coming up, we are the memes from our side flowing. It's coming hot and heavy. I got 33 seconds of a guy named Devin Larratt, who's like the world champion in the sport. He's a former Canadian Special Forces pro. But a little Bitcoin versus gold meme. I gotta admit, I like that one. You know what I mean? That is pretty much where we're at. People are battling it out, but at the end of the day, Bitcoiners are the ones going, "Look in my eyes, watch me destroy you." Boom, right? Bitcoin in El Salvador is the only thing that shuttered, the only thing that ever closed the central bank. Gold never closed the central bank. Okay, that's what achievement they do not have. But we have that as an accomplishment, and gold does not. We are the baddest. We are the toughest. We may not be that large, but we are almost unbeatable. And if you think, well, James, but I need some more of these crazy memes. Do you have another one? Well, lucky you. In fact, I do have another Bitcoin fighting the good fight meme. Check this out. See that? Don't fuck with us. We're small, but we are really mean, and we will keep fighting until we win. Do not ever, ever, ever fuck with us, because you're gonna lose. Let's face it, you're gonna lose. All right. So what else do we have? AI. We have AI and robots. They're always on people's minds. Let's talk about AI and robots. Why not? Isn't it important? Isn't it super important? Well, our good friend, he's not our friend, Larry Fink, he's Jewish. Larry Fink has noticed something. Last week I was talking about nuclear power plants in Georgia, nukes coming online, how to turn your coal-powered electrical plant into a nuclear power plant, how to unmothball, nuclear power plants. Well, amazingly, after that entire spate of stories, Larry Fink was on CNBC talking about the need for electricity.
AI cannot truly happen unless there's a huge investment in infrastructure. The amount of energy that is required for AI is enormous. The amount of power generation. We will run out of electricity if we are going to fully adapt to a full AI world.
Okay, so, it's official. Larry Fink has said, we're going to run out of electricity before we can implement AI, so we have to spend trillions of dollars on infrastructure, build the nuclear power plants and the wires that carry that beautiful electricity to your house, to charge your Tesla car, to do your Bitcoin transactions, to heat up your chicken tendies in the shape of a swastika in your microwave oven. I don't know what you're going to use electricity for, but here's the fun thing. AI and robots. I'm going to show you a video, right? I got a 49-second video. And before you watch the video, this is the question I want you to answer. Here's the question. How many years until AI and robots can do what you see this guy doing? Ready? You ready? 1, 2, 3. The question is, how long until artificial intelligence and robots can do this? So, do you have your answer? You have your answer? Did you write down your answer, kids? How many years? I'm going to say 10 years after the fucking universe ends, because that is never going to happen. And by the way, I don't think you can get black people to do that job, and I don't think you can get Mexicans to do that job either. You're looking at Powerline Bro and his buddy filming him, right? Hanging on the ladder, hanging up by those giant coils with buckets full of shit underneath him, right? In the middle of snowy winter, making sure that the electricity gets from point A to point B, right? I don't know how much they paid that guy, but it cannot possibly be enough. And you see the guy did the little cowabunga thing when they did the extraction. But I don't know how many guys do that. But when that guy decides to stop working, who's going to fucking replace him? And you go, well, who gives a shit? Understand, the electricity doesn't magically flow from point A to point B. Those wires in the cold and various different environments need to be serviced. They need to be checked up on. The electricity leaks out, you know what I mean? And you might say, well, who cares if the electricity leaks out to Wisconsin? I don't think that's Wisconsin, but it might be. But listen, you can't afford to have anybody wake up from the matrix. If they're going to have nuclear-powered fucking AI pumping nonstop digital shit into your fucking skull, you can't have the power go down. But you need guys like that, and I don't know how many guys there are like that in the fucking world. I'm guessing that's the number of dudes who can do what that guy did is very small. That is, I'm guessing, a really, really small club of guys, not only with the technical ability, but the fucking the nerve to do that. And you need helicopter bro too. You need helicopter bro to hang out there and do his part. None of which will ever be done by a machine. That will never, ever, ever, ever in a million fucking years be done by a machine. So what they tell you is going to happen isn't going to happen because they don't have enough guys like that. And you know, if those power lines are going to like Vail, Colorado, where all the millionaires go skiing and their power goes out for their Christmas holiday, you know, they're not going to be fucking happy. You know what I mean? With their little fucking little Lord Fauntleroy and whatever they call their daughters, fucking, you know, freezing to death in a multi-million-dollar cabin in Vail, Colorado. Yeah, that's not going to do well, especially when they got a fucking Tesla car outside that they thought was charging up. That's going to bring them to safety. Yeah, it's going to work. So most of their plans are not going to work. It's going to come crashing down. It's going to be a fucking disaster. But the good news is, hopefully, they'll build out enough infrastructure so that we can take it over. And we will take it over. Part of the way to win anything, like any sort of fight, is you have to make sure that you have to try and ensure as much as you can that the enemy can't hurt you, right? So if central banking is the enemy, if fiat currency is the enemy of human freedom, and Bitcoin is the counter to that, well, you know, how can they attack us? And we have to return once again. We have to return once again to Saint Michael, to Saint Michael Saylor, who has figured out the ideal deflection. You know what I mean? To how to not be there when they try to hit us. So this is 1 minute of Michael Saylor explaining the key aspect of how we win, and I mean win the entire planet.
What I think is, of course, if you just describe Bitcoin as digital property, a store of value, all of the popular criticisms go away, and everyone that hates Bitcoin would completely flip once they understood it isn't a currency. So people just ought to say it's a property, it's not a currency, and every one of those criticisms and weaknesses is no longer relevant. The second thing I say on store of value is, it's kind of silly to fight to be a digital currency because there's $900 trillion of wealth in the world. 400 trillion of it wants to be store of value. Only 1 trillion wants to be a medium of exchange. No, go to a wealthy person and ask them what percentage of their wealth is in their checking account. It's like 1%, maybe. No wealthy person is holding more than 1% in ready cash. So it's not even worth fighting for. Like, you can fight the government to be a currency, but you're just fighting someone that's got guns and police force, etc.
So this is the key insight, and a big. It's a much bigger deal because if Bitcoin is digital property, it doesn't threaten the U.S. dollar directly, right? I'm taking my dollars, my real money, wink, wink, my Federal Reserve notes, and I'm buying property with it. I'm not buying real estate in Miami or New York or LA. I'm buying digital property, you know? And so there's no attack surface. There's no way for them to attack you. You know what I mean? If you want to take your dollars, if I wanted to take my dollars, like Manlet said, and buy a piece of property like a new Harley Davidson, I could do that. That's legal. If I thought, well, that's not a good idea, I want to buy something else, I could do that as well. So with Bitcoin, and the legal definition as far as the U.S. federal government is concerned is that it is property. So just ignore the whole currency debate, blah, blah, blah. Just forget about it. Just build up your stack of digital property. And then there's literally no criticism, legal or otherwise, that they can bring against you. And you stop yourself from being robbed. You stop yourself from being robbed. By the way, the title of tonight's stream is Mr. Nakamoto's Cow. Mr. Nakamoto's Cow, and are we ready for that? Yeah, we're just about ready for that. Yeah, we're ready for that because that'll feed into the last few videos I have. But a little play on words. The Great Chicago Fire was supposedly started by Mrs. O'Leary's cow, if you're old enough to remember that American myth. But for this, we have to return once again to the precincts of St. Michael. But he's got a really good point here.
It's like you say Bitcoin is digital energy, and even the people in the crypto space will disagree with me. They're like, what do you mean? No, it isn't. It can't be. Like, that's not what it is. They don't get it, right? And so that's a paradigm shift so profound that you can say it in front of someone, and unless you have 100 hours to show them 100 examples and conduct a Socratic tutorial for them and answer their 100 questions and show them three-dimensional visualizations and then make 100 connections. If you don't have that time, they just look at you, they blank, they disagree, they misunderstand, and so they don't buy. But that's exactly what you want. You want something which can't be stopped. The fact they don't agree and they don't understand doesn't mean it's stoppable any more than I start a fire in Chicago and it's burning. It's like you might not understand there's a fire. You might not know fire. You might wish there isn't a fire, but the fire's coming, right? It's not stoppable, right? It's a chain reaction. And
so, there's the allegory of Mrs. O'Leary's cow. Bitcoin is a fire that can't be stopped. And whether you get it or you don't get it, it doesn't make a difference, And when, Saylor says, if you had 100 hours to walk people through this, then they would get it. But to be perfectly honest, the reason why I do this show, the way I do this show, is because if you don't get it, you don't belong here. Like, you just don't belong here. I don't have the time, nor the energy, nor the fucking rhetorical skill to fucking take you by the hand to where you need to be. I don't have that. And to be perfectly honest, nobody's worth that. In the limited amount of time you have on this earth, you have to decide how much time you're going to spend doing this, how much time you're going to spend doing that. And people who are going to be fucking as stubborn as a mule, you have to let them go and just go on your way and do what you're going to do. That is absolutely critical, and that's what we're doing. When I say we, I'm talking about Bitcoiners, and we are we like this. Nothing, people think I'm fucking around when I say that everything, everywhere, all the time. Here's 19 seconds of how Bitcoin just seeps in through the cracks. It comes in ways you can't fucking stop, in places you never expect. Check this out.
Are you a runner? You can enter into this Bitcoin bull run race. This is in Turkey, and you can check it out at this website here. They're giving away 2.1 BTC in reward, so make sure you don't miss it out. BTCTurk.com.
So somebody decided to give away 2.1 Bitcoins in a marathon race. Instead of giving away Turkish lira for the fucking Istanbul marathon, they're going to get people to do some proof of work, involving shoe leather, and the prizes are going to be Bitcoin. You have no idea, and it's big and public, and it's a big flashy fucking sign, and that is so mind-bogglingly subversive in a nation like Turkey, which is currently suffering from not quite hyperinflation, but they're close. They're close. And since we did a lot of China stuff, let's see if we can't close out. I think this is gonna close. That'll be the last video, right? Close out with a little bit more from our slant-eyed friends across the Pacific.
lot of you guys have been asking about Bitcoin ETFs in Hong Kong. Well, check this out. There's a giant Bitcoin ad right now talking about the ETF that's imminent in Hong Kong. There's definitely a lot of attention going on here because at the end of the day, when these ETFs launch, they need people to buy, right? So more and more ads, more and more attention, and Hong Kong's trying to push itself to be the center of Web3. So in this financial hub with so many people, we're gonna see more of this.
Okay, so Hong Kong's going to launch an ETF and they're going to start sucking up Bitcoin. The halving is right around the corner, 5 days away, 4.5 days away, whatever. And regardless of what you think the price is doing, just ignore it. Bitcoin dumps to 60. I think it dumped to 60 and then rose over the weekend and then they smashed it down again today. It's all short-term bullshit. You know what I mean? Take your fiat currency, take your fucking slavery coupons and buy digital property, right? And the only digital property worth owning is Bitcoin. Buy that and just keep buying more and more and more. Add to the amount of property that you own that they cannot take from you. Holding your wealth in any form in Federal Reserve notes or any dollar-denominated thing is not a good idea. You know it's not a good idea because why? Why, James?
We print it digitally, so
J Powell is always there to just hit that fucking button, hit that button, hit that button, and they're gonna do that till forever. They're gonna keep interest rates high. They don't give a shit about the rest of the economy. They got to keep Wall Street fucking afloat because if Wall Street goes under, the stock market goes under, and then the American economy goes under, and the dollar is finished. So this is propping up the dollar. I realize that's what this high interest rates is just about, propping up the dollar, and that's what they're going to do to the expense of almost everything else. So they're really busy, you know what I mean? And while they're busy and not paying attention, this is your time to stack, because in the next 12 to 18 months, things are going to get real interesting for those of us with digital property. And if you have enough digital property, hey, listen, you can do whatever you want. So yeah, I think that's just about everything. Did I miss anything? No, looks like I got it all. Didn't fuck up too much tonight. Right? Yeah, I didn't hit the wrong button. I didn't do the wrong screen share. Everything went almost perfectly according to plan. Yeah, what else? I actually have my notes. Whatever. Listen, we're 5 days out from the beginning of something really big. Whether you see it or not, whether you see the exchange rate jump up and down, there's big things happening in the background, but you have to be able to see them clearly. Hopefully, I provided a little clarity tonight. With that, we are at 59 minutes and 19 seconds. Man, I can just close this out dead bang at 1 hour. But first, before I do that, I have to remind you. What do I have to remind you? I have to remind you to smash up the like button, of course. Because if you're not smashing up the like button, how will Jason Greenblatt at the ADL know whom to try to censor? And you want to be high up on their list of double plus ungood hate speech persons, anti-Semitism, racism, misogynism, whatever isms. Anyway, all right. So it is. We're at 1 hour and 10 seconds. We are 5 days away from the halving. I will talk to you guys again next week, but stay in a positive frame of mind because good things are definitely coming.